Hey everybody, so we're here with another video and we're looking at something a bit different today. We're using a very high mileage gun, a highly customized vintage Model 10. I did not put all the miles on this. Somebody else put a lot of miles on it before I did, but it was just so cool, and there has been so much gunsmithing done on this particular revolver. New barrel and optic, this little baldy tent here, and a full crane alignment. We can get into that a little bit more later, but what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was actually cartridges. I wanted to talk to you about how a bullet works and how it gets indexed into a cylinder and how this works. So really quick before we get started, like every single video we do, we're just going to do a quick safety check and make sure that this thing is empty and we are clear and good to go. We can talk about this. We'll get into this a little bit more. This is a whole nother chapter on optics on guns, and why it's a thing, and why it works the way it works. But today what I want to talk to you about is ammunition. All three of these, I just want to say, before everybody gets upset, nothing on this table. I always clear the bench of live ammo every time I get my guns out to either work on them or do anything else that's not shooting. It's paramount. So there's no live ammo on the bench. All three of these are inert. This, it's running away from me. This is a snap cap. This is an aluminum look-alike that features a hard insert where the primer would be and nothing else. This is the exact size, similar in weight to a 38 special cartridge. However, it is inert. We can put that in the gun and be confident. This looks like a 38 special cartridge, a live one. However, it is not. This is inert as well. There is no, I've produced this for training purposes. I've used a jacketed hollow point on the front of it, some extra projectiles that I had lying around. I've replaced the primer with a hard silicone product, and there is no live powder charge in here. This is also completely inert. This is also inert. This is what I'm going to use to demonstrate exactly how a bullet functions. We can see that there is no primer in here, and in fact you can even see my hand and my ring and everything else through that hole. Nothing on the inside. This is just an empty case. This is a regular old 158 grain round nose flat point plated bullet. It's lead and it's coated in copper. So what happens, how a bullet functions, is that a live primer is inserted into this opening in the back, this primer pocket. A charge of powder gets dumped on top of that, and then a bullet gets put on top of it. And the way that this functions is that the hammer of the revolver, the firing pin, strikes the primer. However, the primer does contain an explosive. The powder is not an explosive. Gunpowder burns at a very high rate, but it burns. The powder, however, the primer, however, does contain just a little bit of oxygen when it's ignited, and the powder on the inside of this brass case will use some of that. Will use that oxygen when it burns. As it burns, it creates gas and pressure. That pressure forces the bullet to leave the case, exits through the case mouth, passes into the forcing cone of the revolver, and passes down the barrel. And that gas, and some of that powder and some of that gas continues to expand and continues to burn all the way out of the barrel. and this moves on to its intended target. That is how a bullet works. How it works in relationship to a revolver is this is where this sits. So this sits right here. This cylinder rotates around and sits here. That sits against the back wall of the frame, and this hammer that has a spur on it, this hammer that has a spur on it will strike that primer. So that's just struck, that is indexed and struck that snap cap, and now we're going to see some brass come up. You can just see it there. You see some brass come up into the window, and now that hammer is about to come down onto what would be a live primer, but it is not. So that gets indexed there. That happens on this Model 10 6 times. As long as there are 6 cartridges in the gun, every time the trigger is pulled, it's going to rotate the cylinder, index it onto the next charge hole that features a new live primer, and ignite that primer and send that bullet. This is a bullet, a projectile, send that bullet out the front of the muzzle. Today we're looking at it, like I said, this is a Model 10, highly customized. This is a competition revolver. It's very quick. It features an optic and a really heavy bolt barrel. It also has, like I said, a lot of gunsmithing features that are in it that are pretty cool too. I thought you guys would dig this. We can talk more about reloading, or we can talk more about bullets and projectiles later. But I don't know exactly how many people really know the anatomy of a pew, but the powder actuated rapid onset lead poisoning device that we have here, that's how these work. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. It's been swell. Catch you guys later.